Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gita as it is. Chapter 2, entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized, text 45. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Niryogakshema Atmavan. Traigunya, pertaining to the three modes of material nature. Vishayaha, on the subject matter. Vedaha, Vedic literatures. Naistraigunyaha, transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Bhava, be. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Nirdvandvaha, without duality. Nitya, Sattva, Staha, in a pure state of spiritual existence. Niryoga, Kshimaha, free from ideas of gain and protection. Atmavan, established in the self. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to those modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Purport. All material activities involve actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive results, which cause bondage in the material world. The Vedas deal mostly with the fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy, where in the beginning there is Brahma Jigyasa, or questions on the supreme transcendence. All the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom, advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. When the activities for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for the spiritual realization is offered in the form of the Upanishads, which are part of different Vedas, as the Bhagavad-gita is a part of the fifth Veda, namely the Mahabharata. The Upanishads mark the beginning of transcendental life. As long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities, such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth, and by tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness, when one is fully dependent on the good will of Krishna. The translation of the verse again. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyahi vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today we are speaking on very interesting and famous verse actually from the second chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, where Krishna is teaching Arjuna to rise above his false ideas of how to become happy. So everyone in this world wants to be happy. This is the nature of every living entity, actually. Not just human beings, but every living entity. Even if you take a small ant, it goes on a sugar because it wants pleasure and runs for safety if feels endangered, isn't it? So everyone wants to be happy, from small ant to the most elevated beings. But the problem is, in this material world, that however we try to be happy, there is always some misery. And Krishna explains this in 5th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Yehi sansparshasha bhoga dukkha yona yevati adyantavantah kontaya nateshwaramati buddha. That because we want to be happy, we get attached to things, to people, to concepts, to everything that makes us, that we think that these things are making us happy. But the consequence is, because this material world is the world of everything perishes very quickly. So, because it's temporary, whatever will give us happiness now, it will be taken away sooner or later. So more we are attached to something in this world, because we get attached if something gets us happy, makes us happy, that we get attached to this thing, aren't we? We are very much attached. More happiness we derive from something, more we are attached to this thing. And more we are attached, more we suffer when we lose it. Yes, and we definitely will lose it. Therefore Krishna says, dukkha yonaya, that gives birth to misery. Those things that we try to enjoy, that give us some pleasure, they give birth to misery. So the wise man don't seek pleasure in those things that are temporary. Tasyaiva hetoh praitita kuvido na labhate yat brahmatam uparada. Talabhate dukkhavat aneta sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa. It says in in Srimad Bhagavatam that those who are kavida, who are intelligent, they strive for something it's not possible to find in the three worlds. That would think that such man is crazy. He strives for something that is not possible to find in all the creation. But actually, in all of creation, there is nothing that can make us permanently happy. So one who strives for something in this creation, not just in this world, but in this whole creation that will make him happy, he'll be the loser. And he'll suffer terribly at the end. Terribly. Yes. And therefore, for example, even Queen Kunti prays in Srimad Bhagavatam, how it is, Ata Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishwamurte Svakeshu me Sneha Pashem Dam Chindi Dridam Pandushu Vrishnishu. Please, Krishna, sever these strong ropes, Sneha Pasham, of affection. Sneha means affection. Sneha Pasham idam chindi. Chindi, cut these ropes of affection to my family members of Pandavas and Vrishnis. And Pandavas and Vrishnis, we know, there are Lord's personal associates, personal family members. So extremely elevated people. But Queen Kunti prays that please sever these attachments, these strong ropes of attachment, yes, even to such elevated people. Tvayi mananya vishaya matir madhuta sakiri sakrit ratimudvakata tada gogavagamudamvati. Let my attraction flows like river Ganges only to you. Because Krishna is transcendental. And if we get attached to Krishna, who is transcendental, who is everlasting, then our happiness can be everlasting too. Otherwise it's impossible. If we remain attached on this material platform to anything, we'll suffer. We'll suffer. Yes, everything will be taken away. Yes. That's the hard fact, as you can say. And it's interesting. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Vedas are meant for elevation of our consciousness. But we can hear from the Supreme Lord himself. He says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. That Vedas deal mostly with Traigunya, with three modes of material nature. Why is this? What do you think?
Because different living beings have different combinations of modes of material nature, so in order to get to be able to listen to something or to accept authority, they would be attracted to similar combination of modes. So in order to be attracting a bit of everybody, then they deal mostly with that.
Okay, this is very intelligent explanation. Is there any other idea? It can be put simpler. Actually, majority of people is seeking happiness on the material plane. They don't consider spiritual life very seriously. They are pious, many, at least in older days, and maybe in India, more people are pious. And I heard that in Bavaria, people are still pious. But majority of people, they don't strive for some spiritual realization. They live according to their tradition, maybe piously, but they're not interested in something higher. So the Lord, to attract the attention of such people, is speaking on something that they're interested in. And this is how to become happy in this world. Of course, and for example, and then the Vedas are explained. And also here it is explained that one of the Vedas, the fifth Veda, as Bhagavad Gita is the part of Mahabharata, which is a fifth Veda. And in Srimad Bhagavatam it is explained that this Mahabharata was written by or composed by Vyasadeva because he was merciful to ordinary people who are not able to comprehend higher topics. And and then in this Mahabharata is packed this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. That people will still benefit from reading Mahabharata. And if you accept the authority of Vedas, even if you deal with these lower modes of material nature, at least you accept authority, some higher authority in your life. Usually in modern days, people don't accept any spiritual authority, even it is within the three modes of nature. They don't accept authority, spiritual authority. Yes, and they want to be independent from any system of religion, we can say. But even if they would follow, they cannot achieve happiness. And so this Vedic system of material happiness is very long-term, life after life after life. So here, in such a place as Simhachalam and other places of transcendence, usually those gather who want to transcend material modes. And this is very rare places. These are very rare places, most beneficial, because we can get association of people who are after transcendence. And as we know from the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Manushyanam sakhartashu kaschit yatiti sidaye, yatatam api sidanam kaschinam vidi tatvada. That amongst many thousands of people, thousands and thousands, maybe, not certainly, but maybe, one will get interested in perfection. And amongst those who have achieved perfection, hardly anyone knows me in truth. So devotees are those who strive to know Krishna in truth. Yes. And Krishna also explains in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita who is able to understand Bhagavad Gita. Saevayam mayatadya yoga proktah puratana bhaktosi me sakachati rahasyam hita uttamam. I'm speaking you about this uttama rahasya. Rahasya means secret. And uttama, tama means darkness. And uttama is beyond darkness. That means darkness represents material world because it's dark by itself, needs some external source of light to be enlightened. So it's the world of darkness. So if you want to go uttama, beyond darkness, Krishna lists two qualifications that we can understand Bhagavad Gita. And he says, Bhaktosi me sakachiti, that you are my devotee. This is first qualification. But we can say there are many devotees in different religious paths. But Krishna points out the other qualification also that we be able to understand Bhagavad Gita. And the other qualification is to be my friend, Sakha. Yes. Only friends of Krishna can understand. Other people cannot. So if we have awe and reverence towards God, many religious paths are promoting such approach to the Lord. Of course, it's a bona fide path, we can say. But Krishna says that only you who are my devotee and my friend, you can understand Bhagavad Gita. This Uttama Rahasya, the transcendental secret. Yes. So we should strive for these two qualifications to achieve. That we should become a devotee and Krishna's friend. And Krishna's friend. Yes. Then we can go beyond these three modes, because these three modes represent darkness. Yes. For example, our body is composed of three modes of material nature. And if we identify with this body, and we think, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a child, I'm a grown-up person, I'm old, I'm young, I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim, I'm white, I'm black, I'm Christian, I'm a doctor, I'm a street sweeper, I'm whatever. These are just bodily designations that have nothing to do with ourselves, with our soul. So we should rise above these bodily designations. This is the purpose of our life. Only human being is capable to understand this. So we should first become a human being. Yes. Because Vedas classify people who don't understand, who don't at least strive for spiritual perfection, that they're on the level of animals. They're animals, two-legged animals. Yes. Shri Prahlad Nrsimha ki jai. Lakshmi Nrsimha ki jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanandi. Yes, two-legged animals. Why? Maybe this expression seems harsh, but it's Krishna's judgment. Yes. Why do you think Krishna is calling people who don't strive for to become his devotees two-legged animals? What do you think?
Because they are not taking advantage of the present body that they have, and so it means that there's this possibility of inquire about God, which the human body gives. So then there's no much difference with the animal.
Yes. You wanted to say something? Anyone else? Yes. What animals do? They try to fill their belly. They try to protect themselves. They have children. They protect their children. They provide for their children. So, what's the difference? And they also like pleasure. So people are striving for pleasure. People are having children. They care for their protection. They care for their homes, and so on. It's the same, maybe more sophisticated because they have more developed brains. But otherwise, it's completely the same process. But only human being can understand his relationship with God. This is the beauty of human life. So, and the second chapter, which we discuss now, is actually about the science of the self. It's about the science of the self. Who are we? First, Krishna explained to Arjuna. Arjuna didn't want to fight. And this is why Arjuna didn't want to fight. Because we all want, as we said, we want to be happy. And then we create our world. We put ourselves in the center. We want to be the enjoyers. We put ourselves in the center of our world. And this doesn't mean that just me, but also my family, my language, my culture, my friends, my relatives, my favorite food, my favorite football club, my that. This is my world. And I believe that all these things will bring me happiness. And I try to protect them. I identify with them. And everything that creates any disturbance to this world, I hate this. And this is material way of life, ordinary material way of life. But Krishna explains, you are not this body. So your concepts, because he was a warrior and he didn't want to fight. This rejection of fight from Arjuna is actually the basis of all violence. It maybe seems very strange how to, if one rejects to kill other people, is the basis of violence. But it is. Because he didn't want to fight, because these were his relatives, his friends. Understand? If there would be strangers on the other side, he would kill them immediately, without second thought, because he was a trained killer. And he proved that he's merciless when killing is in question. In Kandava forest, for example, in Srimad Bhagavatam in 10th canto, it is explained how once Krishna and Arjuna went to help Agni to consume Kandava forest. Agni is a demigod of fire. He was consuming too much ghee in different sacrifices, different yagas. And so because of too much ghee, he had indigestion. And to cure his indigestion, he had to consume some medicinal herbs from the special forest, Khandava. But this Khandava forest was under protection of Indra, the god of rains. So when Agni, the fire, wanted to consume the forest, burn the forest to get these herbs, Indra sent forth rains, and he couldn't burn the forest. So he still had these indigestion problems. So he turned to Krishna and Arjuna actually, and asked him for help. And so Arjuna went with Krishna to help Agni to consume the forest. And when they came to the spot, Agni started to burn the forest to consume these herbs. But immediately Indra sent forth rains, like usually happened. But then Arjuna, with his arrows, he created a protective roof over the forest. So not even a drop of rain fell on the forest. And Agni could consume the forest. But not only that, all the animals that tried to escape from the burning forest were killed mercilessly by Arjuna, by his arrows. So he was trained killer, because Kshatriyas, these kings, they had to be merciless killers actually, in order to protect from these rascal people who want to usurp the state or try to harm innocent people. These Kshatriyas have to be very strong people, not think twice if killing is involved. So he proved that he's like this, real Kshatriya. But when his relatives and friends were in question, he didn't want to apply this Kshatriya quality. But if there would be some strangers, he would kill them immediately without any second thought. So we can see that his so-called non-violence is the basis of all violence. And therefore Krishna says, although he tried to prove his point with different logical arguments and even quoting Shastra, Arjuna, in the first chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Krishna's first response was, "From where this impurity came upon you?" It's not befitting of one who's striving for something higher. So this idea of yours, of your non-violence, is animalistic. Yes. Animals wouldn't fight with their friends, actually. But someone whose duty is to fight, he fights. If there is a need for protection of of dharma and Krishna's purpose. Yes. So first Krishna explained, you're not this body. This body is always changing, but the soul, the spiritual spark, is always the same. It's always the same. So don't lament over something that will be destroyed sooner or later. So this body will be destroyed. And here in the second chapter, further on, then he explains, don't be attached to these material things. Don't be attached. And attachment is shown through fear. Mm, Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Eating is one of and this defending, actually. Defending is fearing also, it's bhaya. We try to protect our world because we fear that we lose existence. We don't want to lose existence because we are eternal by nature. So yes, and here Krishna explains, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So in Bible, Lord Jesus says, why you're afraid, you faithless people? How will you live? Look, birds in the sky, they don't strive very hard for their living, but still they're supported by the Lord. And look, the lilies on the field, they don't work very hard, but they're dressed more magnificently than the King Solomon. So, yes, we should be completely dependent on the Lord. This is the purpose of this verse. That we should be dependent on the Lord. We shouldn't think that we can protect our life on the material platform. We cannot. And our duty is to protect our soul. And not just our soul, but the souls of our dependents. So if we are a mother, or a father, or a husband, or a brahmachari also, we are responsible for those who take shelter of us, somehow or other. So Lord Rishabhadeva says in 5th canto, Gurur nasasyat svajano nasasyat pita nasasyat janini nasasyat devam na tatsyanna patischa sasyanna mojati aksamapiti mityam. That we shouldn't become a father or mother or a teacher or even a deity or a relative if we are not able to deliver those who are dependent on us. Yes, so we should first, our foremost duty is to develop spiritual consciousness. That means our foremost duty is to surrender to Krishna. Is to surrender to Krishna and be without fear for our existence. We can check our heart. Do you have any fears in our heart? For anything. If we do, that means that we don't trust Krishna. Because if we trust Krishna, then we know everything that happens in my life is Krishna's mercy. As Krishna explains this, it's explained in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tattenu kampam susamiksham punjana vatma kritam vipakam hritvak vapurbirde vidadam namasti jivetaya muktipade sadabhak. Yes, that devotee sees everything as Lord's mercy. Then whatever is happening to me is because of my past misdeeds. And I will still glorify my Lord from all my, with my words, my mind, my body, in any way. I will dedicate my life to the Lord. For example, one famous example is Sudama Vipra. Have you heard about this story of Sudama Vipra? Also from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sudama was a brahmana who was extremely poor. He was so poor that he and his wife, they had nothing to eat actually. And it happened that Sudama was Krishna's schoolmate as a boy. And so his dedicated wife knew that Sudama was a schoolmate of Krishna. And so she said to him many times, please visit Krishna and ask him to give you something. But Sudama was devoted very much, a pure devotee of Krishna, and he didn't want to ask Krishna anything material. And also his wife was very elevated, and she asked him to go to Krishna just for the sake of her husband, not for the sake of herself. But because Sudama was also merciful to his wife, because she was very emaciated, he decided maybe it's good to go to Krishna. And besides this, I haven't seen Krishna for a long time. It would be really nice to see my old friend. I long to see him, so I will go and visit him. But he said to his wife, that I don't have anything to offer to Krishna. I cannot come to Krishna empty-handed. I have to give him something. So his wife went to their neighbors to get some chipped rice. And she bound this chipped rice in one torn cloth and gave to Sudama to give the Supreme Personality of Godhead some handful of chipped rice tied in a torn cloth. So Sudama took this present for the Lord and went to Dwaraka. And when he reached Dwaraka, he was completely astonished, because everywhere there were enormous palaces there. And then he went to most magnificent palace of all. And of course Krishna saw him from far, and he ran to embrace his old friend. Yes. And he immediately took him to his chambers and put him on Rukmini's bed and washed his feet and sprinkled this water from his feet on every member of his family. Yes, and then he discussed with him a long time, for hours, and Rukmini Devi herself fanned this Dhamma Brahmana with the chamara. He was really accepted gorgeously, practically, although he was so shabbily dressed and really looked like a beggar on the street, actually. And they discussed also how they went through their school days. Once there was a storm when they were in school in Gurukula at Sandipani Muni's school. Then there was a big storm, and they were out in the forest to collect wood for cooking purposes. And because of this storm, they lost their way, and they stayed all night in the forest. And Sandipani Muni was really worried where the boys are. They went to the forest for my sake, and they didn't return. So they all went out and searched for Krishna and Sudama. And finally they found them, and the Guru was very satisfied with them, how much they underwent for his purpose. And he blessed them. So they discussed such things with great pleasure. And then Krishna asked him, what did you bring to me? And he was extremely ashamed because he saw that Krishna is living in such opulence. Everything was in gold and many jewels and so on. So how and most delicious food was there. So how can he give him some chipped rice in torn cloth? And he just looked down and he didn't say anything. But Krishna insisted, and then because Sudama didn't say anything, he was very ashamed. More Krishna insisted, more ashamed he was. So he just snatched this torn cloth from Sudama and said, "Oh, you see how wonderful, this most delicious rice you brought to me. You're a really nice friend." And then he took a handful of this rice and threw it in his mouth, and he was really extremely satisfied with this rice. How tasteful! I have never tasted such a wonderful food. He said. It's interesting because of love, everything becomes tasteful for the Lord. He actually tastes love. There is many other examples how he tastes love. For example, when he came to Hastinapur to make peaceful arrangement for peace with Duryodhana before the Kurukshetra war, Duryodhana knew that Krishna is fond of kirtan and that should be very wonderful reception made for Krishna. So he prepared everything perfectly for Krishna. He hired a kirtan band that they waited Krishna with Hare Krishna kirtan. And then he had made special golden throne, new, just for Krishna. Everything for Krishna. Most delicious foods for Krishna, cooked just for him, for his pleasure. And he wanted, of course, Krishna to enjoy, and everyone was serving Krishna from all sides, fanning him and speaking very nicely and so on. But Krishna didn't want to accept anything. He said that because you don't love me, I don't need these things. And then he went to Vidura, and there are different versions of this story, but one of the versions is that Vidura wasn't at home even at that time. Only his wife was there, and she was so nervous because Krishna suddenly appeared, and she didn't prepare anything for Krishna. She didn't knew that Krishna is arriving. So she was peeling bananas and throwing bananas away and giving peels to Krishna. But Krishna happily ate these banana peels because they were offered with love. But those delicious feast offered by Duryodhana was not accepted by him. So we can see that if we do devotional service, even service for Krishna, let us say service, not devotional, service for Krishna, with some idea that I will get something from Krishna, Krishna will not accept it. Yes, because it's offered with some selfish purpose in mind. So, and for example, Lord Chaitanya, when he heard that Raghunath Das Goswami is eating just some leftovers that were thrown away because they started to rot from Jagannath Prasad, that even cows, they didn't want to eat these leftovers anymore. He washed this decomposed rice and put a little bit of salt on them that he can swallow them up. Lord Chaitanya came and took forcefully this rice from Raghunath Das Goswami and ate it with great delight. And he said that he never tasted such delicious food before. So Krishna, in the same way, he tasted this chipped rice of Sudama Vipra with great delight, because he knew that he loves me. And then when he tried to take a second handful of this chipped rice, he was stopped by Rukmini Devi. And she said that this is enough. This is more than enough for you blessed him already too much. And so he went home. How much time we have? Nothing more. Okay. So he didn't have heart to ask anything from Krishna, Sudama. So he went away home without asking anything. And he was thinking, Jai Shri Prahlad Narsingha ki Jai, Shri Lakshmi Narsingha ki Jai. He was wondering, what will I say my wife? I didn't ask Krishna. I went to Dwaraka all this way just to ask Krishna for something, but I didn't. What will I say to my wife? But when he approached his home, everything was different. And he thought that he lost his way, because there was a great palace there, and servants waited for him and accepted him with great honor. And then he saw his wife. At that time, his wife was really gorgeously looking. She was not in shabby dress and emaciated like before. But he was still in his old shabby dress, torn dress, and she, it is explained by our acharyas, only for her to recognize him. And then she explained that everything just appeared from the sky. All these opulences and this great palace and everything. And it is explained that his wealth of Sudama became greater than the wealth of demigods. But even though he wasn't attached to it, he still was sleeping on the floor like before, although he has magnificent rooms and bedsteads and so on. He was still sleeping on the floor. And it is explained that this opulence given by Krishna cannot be compared to what Sudama gave to Krishna. Why do you think it's so? So Sudama's gift of some chipped rice in torn cloth worth more than all these palaces and gold and rubies and lapis lazuli and so on. Why do you think it's so?
Because of the devotion behind the gesture?
Yes, but we can say that also Krishna is devoted to his devotees. Right. Any other idea? Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, in 4th chapter, Ye ata mam prapadam te tamstataiva bhajamaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. So Sudama gave to Krishna more than he had, because his wife had to beg for this rice. So he didn't have this rice. He gave Krishna more than he had. But Krishna cannot give more than he has. You understand? Because he's the proprietor of everything. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram says in 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I am the proprietor of everything. So he cannot give in the same way to Sudama as he gave to him. You understand? He couldn't give more than he has. Because everything is in his possession. So if we are devotees, if we become devotees, Krishna will be forever indebted. And also to the gopis, he said the same. Let your devotion to me be your compensation. I cannot repay you even in the lifetime of Brahma. Yes. Because gopis left their homes, their parents, their family members, their brothers and sisters, and they left everyone and just ran to Krishna. But Krishna, he said to them, I cannot leave my mother and father, I cannot leave my brother, so I cannot repay you in the same way you approached me. So let your love be your compensation. So we should purchase Krishna with our love. Yes. This is the only thing that buys Krishna, actually. Nothing else. No prayers will be in Krishna's satisfaction if there is a tinge of selfishness in our heart. So we should pray for Krishna that we can become an instrument in his hands. That should be our prayer. Not give me good wife, good husband, good children, good job, good this, good that. This will be just a source of misery, as we said. Yes, this good job, good husband, good wife, everything will be a source of misery. But if you become a devotee of Krishna, devotee of his devotee, then we'll always be blissful, actually. This is a source of bliss. Only bhakti gives bliss. Only service gives bliss. Also in this world, if you serve, if you make happy someone you really love, this makes you the most happy, isn't it? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Is there any question or comment? Everything's clear? Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande. Please accept my